I thank the witnesses for their testimony, and I now recognize myself for 5 minutes for questions. As I mentioned previously, my home state of Florida is no stranger to hurricanes. We all know that. My hometown, as I said, has the Hurricane Hunters based at Lakeland Airport. Miami is the home of the National Hurricane Center. They even named the University of Miami after their hurricane. So we're very versed in hurricanes. Unfortunately, we have way too much practice, and we have had a lot of practice in preparation and resilience, and we've gotten better at that over the years. And a lot of that's been driven by the forecast and the better and better forecasts we're getting. As we've experienced the last few years, we're seeing a lot of these hurricanes intensify rapidly, sometimes from a Cat 1 or a Cat 2 to a 4 or 5 even overnight. So timing is critical, and best predictions of where they're going to make landfall are important when you have basically a thumb sticking out in the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, that's got 24 million people. Where that storm makes landfall is critical on how we determine how we evacuate millions of people away from the coast. So on that, originally planned for 2026, but moved up to July of 2025, DoD announced that it's going to discontinue the ingestion, processing, and distribution of all Defense Meteorological Satellite Program, DMSP data to NOAA, citing security concerns. And there are some valid security concerns there, and national security is important, but these sensors have been critical to determining storm centers, especially at night. To all of our witnesses, and if we could, since there's 4 of you and I got 5 minutes, if you could try to limit it to maybe 30 seconds, what can be done to best supplement this DMSP data moving forward as the program is phased out? And then also, in your opinion, is DoD living up to its commitments after the cancellation of NPOs to gather and provide early morning orbit coverage to complement NOAA's Joint Polar Satellite System? Mr. Cavett, if you could lead off.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, let me first start by saying that microwave imagers and microwave sounders, microwave imager is the type of sensor that's on DMSP, are critically important for hurricane forecasting, but also just the backbone of our numerical weather prediction, kind of medium range forecasting capabilities. So the loss of that system is significant. If you couple that with the shutdown of the POES systems from NOAA in June of this year, we've lost about 60% of our capacity as a nation for microwave imagers and sounders, which is quite a high number. Tomorrow actually has 7 microwave sounders on orbit today, providing that operational data. And while the imagers and the sounders, there's some nuances to the sort of differences in them. They both really provide that early detection of intensification that you mentioned, being able to see the eye formation, the curved band before that, and at night as well, as you said, because the geostationary sensors can only see the cloud tops and sort of infer what's happening within the storm. In terms of whether DoD is meeting its mission to provide that early morning orbit, WSFM, which is the weather system follow-on microwave, which they launched in 2024, is in that orbit, but it's not the exact copy of SSMIS on DMSP. It's a slightly different frequency range. NOAA is also launching their Quick Sounder program potentially in 2026, and together those would fill that early morning gap for the most part. But I'll also say that this concept of kind of early morning, early afternoon architecture is a bit outdated. If you compare what our constellation is capable of today, because we fly in both polar and mid-latitude orbits, we actually achieve 2-hour revisit globally throughout the day. So this idea of kind of spacing your sensing throughout the day is irrelevant when you can meet a sub-hourly revisit, which is what we'll achieve by the end of this year. So I think it's important in terms of filling these gaps, to your question, that NOAA be able to access these data sets, particularly as we're entering this severe hurricane season this year. Thank you.
Dr. Nielsen-Gammon.
I'll just comment that having a smooth transition of observing system is critical for being able to optimize the technology and how we use it. I'll let the satellite experts talk in more detail.
All right. Dr. Abdullahi.
I'll reiterate that comment. There are some capabilities. We use these in the Arctic for monitoring sea ice evolution as well. Not as familiar with the meteorological applications, but what is critical with satellite capabilities is overlap. And my understanding is the end of life of DMSP is about a year away, so it isn't clear to me why if there are security concerns, I defer to those experts. But it comes at a great cost because that overlap and cross-calibration time is needed for that, and we're losing that time for reasons I don't understand.
All right, thank you. Dr. Gupta.
I will reiterate, like, long horizon archives are fairly important, and as we change observational systems, you need to have them overlapping for ideally at least a year to complete the full season.
Great. All right, thank you. I now recognize the ranking member from Rhode Island for 5 minutes of questions.